I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
It makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
His testicles became swollen.
Oh, no!
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Everybody, welcome to the show. Tuesday. Got a good show for y'all today. Thanks for joining me. So fun times. We're gonna go into more insane conspiracy theories today. We got Newsmax. Yes, news to the max. We got a reporter talking about Luciferace, something like. Could it be Satan? Could it be Satan? That's all she's asking. She's just asking questions. Or not. So we've got that story. That's a fun story. We also have a insane school board meeting. Oh boy, here we go on that. We got Lauren Boebert trying to troll Greta Thunberg. That's fun. Not for Lauren Boebert, though. We got the return of Rich Men Cry. That's right. We've got a crying billionaire. Fun. And then QAnon is gathering. You're not going to believe what for. Fun times. So lots and lots of interesting, insane, just crazy stories today. So please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Please, do so. That again, that helps us out greatly. Super chats, all that stuff, welcome, as well as bits and gifts. Gift some subs. Bezos bucks, all that stuff if you're able to. All right. By the way, yesterday, forgot to give a shout out to Christina for the very kind resubbing. So I appreciate that. Did I see the new UK social media law, Dango Bango? I did not. So I've had a pretty busy day. Hey, Emo Dragon, what's up? In the Twitch chat, thank you for watching. Let's jump into it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be tremendous fun. Talking about Newsmax, news to the max. Okay. Anyway, all right. Every once in a while, I like to check in on the folks at Newsmax because it's news, Max. And I check in to see what they're saying about the vaccine, for example. In fact, here's Newsmax reporter Emerald Robinson, who recently tweeted this out about the vaccine. Dear Christians, the vaccines contain a bioluminescent marker called Luciferace so that you can be tracked. Read the last book of the New Testament. See how this ends. Oh, come on. You're not going to give us a spoiler? TLDR, dude, that's too much to read. I mean, have you seen the Bible? It's gigantic. And there's so many books. So many books. Oh, here we go. All right, so now, I mean, you read that and your first instinct is to say, you know what? Sorry guys, that's enough internet for me today. That's it. Shut it down. We're done. But no, you know what we have to do. It's time for the debunking and then, of course, the dunking. But let's start with the Bible reference. Of course, everybody loves the Bible references, right? Well, it actually comes from the book of Revelations. Now, book of Revelation is, of course, the big war between the archangel Michael and the fallen angels, led by the devil, also known as Lucifer, which also was apparently a show on like Fox or something. Lucifer. What was it, Fox? I don't know. But anyway, what that has to do with anything in the real world, I don't know. I don't know. Because none of the COVID vaccines contain luciferase or any sort of tracking materials. In fact, you know what's more likely to track her? The thing she literally tweeted it out on. Okay? I mean, this is a tracker. This is a tracker. Okay? Seriously. If you have a phone, you're being tracked. If you have an address, guess what? If you live in a house or anywhere that has an address, they know where you are. They know. I know. Oh my God. They know where I'm at. Yes, they also, if you have a job, they know where you go to work. Oh dear God, that means they can find you. They can find you. Yep. Look, if you really want to get away from it all, never get electricity, move out to in the woods and build a cabin. But you better not get an electricity or a phone or a car or anything made with computer chips or anything with RF signals in it. If you don't want to be tracked, that's the way to do it. Otherwise, if you're in society, we're being tracked. Did they think about this at all? Is there any sense of, is there any thoughts whatsoever? Okay, is there any, just a little tiny crumb of self-awareness for these people? Now, of course, honestly, there are, of course, ways to hide your identity online, but I doubt that Satan Vaccine Girl is smart enough to figure that one out. I'm just saying. She doesn't seem all that savvy when it comes to technology. That's just my read of it. But of course, she'll just say something like, "Are you sure it ain't Satan?" So look, understand that this is, by the way, not a new conspiracy. So all this stuff is floating around. Back in March, for example, Reuters published a fact check of the claim, which noted that while the organic compound was involved in some of the COVID-19 research back in the summer of 2020, none of the available vaccines contain it. Now, why would you put that in there? Why would you put luciferase in the vaccine? Well, first, it's because it's used to light things up. And it was used in the research in order to track how viruses would interact with the cells. And so, you would have the vaccines in there. And you would have this compound in there that lights things up and kind of tracks how things work so you can better target the virus with the vaccine. Makes sense, right? Luciferase, by the way, is a generic term for a class of oxidative enzymes that produce bioluminescence. First used by Raphael Dubois, invented words luciferin and luciferase for substrate and enzyme, respectively. Those words are derived from the Latin word Lucifer, meaning the light bearer. After all, that was supposed to be, if you're at all interested in biblical history, which is kind of fascinating when you look at it from a mythos perspective. It's supposed to be the head angel, the literal light bringer. And of course, the tragedy of it all is that he was a fallen angel, was supposed to be the best one, the best and greatest of the angels, but is no longer. So it is pretty interesting. But nonetheless, this compound doesn't have anything to do with the devil. There's no Satan. Okay, it's not a thing. Not happening. All right. So with that established, let's get to the dunks. So first, political observer Josh Jordan noted this, quote, she tweets out that the COVID vaccine is meant to track your every move from an iPhone, which literally tracks your every move. The problem is that she knows it's nonsense, but she's built a brand on taking advantage of those who don't know any better. Oh, so basically a grifter. Of course. Of course. Now, there's more. Lucy Burton says, damn shame if I'm not gonna get 5G or be magnetic. I was hoping for the glow-in-the-dark thing for Burning Man next year. I know, right? Aren't we all like disappointed that we're not getting like superpowers from this? I mean, I've been vaccinated. I'm double vaccinated. I still don't have no goddamn superpower. Where is it? Where is it? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Come on, let's do some Magneto or glow-in-the-dark shit. Not gonna happen, apparently. Now, Tempestuous Taproot says, what the actual fuck? How come everybody else gets microchips, magnetization, 5G service, and glowing blood from their vaccines? All I got was protection from COVID. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Give me the superpowers. Another person says, dear Christians, your cell phone contains technology called GPS. It can be tracked. Read the end user license agreements to see how it ends. Understand that though, that is too much reading. Okay, you cannot expect these people to sit and read. After all, they've never even read their Bible. Honestly, you ask somebody how much of the Bible, this evangelicals, how much they've actually read of the Bible. They can quote you like a couple of verses, but guaranteed, it's only, of course, what the pastor picked out. Most of the time when they go to church on Sunday and they listen to the Bible, half of them are dozing off or thinking about football or something else. They ain't listening. They ain't listening. They don't know what's in it. Never read it for themselves. And that's just an unfortunate truth, right? So now another one says, the EULA, the End User License Agreement, actually stands for End of Times Lucifer Agreement. By agreeing to any EULA, when the rapture comes, you'll not float to heaven, but drift around and be used by Satan for skeet. Always say no to EULA. Fun times. And then, you know, the irony is, by the way, about this entire thing. Don't they want the end times to come? Don't they want to have Jesus suck them up into heaven with the Holy Dustbuster? Isn't that the whole point? Apparently not. I don't know. Or, look, maybe that's why they don't want the vaccine. Because, guess what? Taking the vaccine makes it harder for the COVID to send you back to meet your maker. I don't know, honestly. But it seriously, though, it's incredibly frustrating when you think about it. Because there are so many grifters playing on things like religion, of course, political identity, distrust of institutions. Some of those institutions, of course, are not very deserving of trust. Righteous anger, of course, at greedy pharmaceutical companies, and are taking all of those things, which are real issues, by the way, and they're using those things to make a buck, either on their own fake cures, because how many of these grifters that are pushing like, oh, ivermectin and all this nonsense, right? Well, I mean, how many of them are making money from it? A lot, actually. A lot of them are making money, or they're pushing their own kind of thing. Their own, miracle cure. And so they're all just doing this in a cynical way to make money off dumb people by being reactionary. It sucks, and it is harmful, but, I mean, the only thing we can do at this point is kind of laugh at the stupid. Now, I'm tired of being super nice. I'm tired of trying to reach out to people with empathy and understanding. No, that's not going to work. They literally hate our guts, and they're trying to kill us. Okay. Anyway. Moving on. This is the end rapture. Looked more like alien abduction rather than a dustbuster. You know the irony of that entire thing too, by the way? I know an evangelical. And he's like, Bible says nothing about rapture. That's completely made up. Like that's not a real thing that's in the Bible. And this person's a very, ardent evangelical Christian who happens to be on the left side, which is good. They exist. And he's like, yeah, the whole rapture thing is just absolutely made up. I don't even know where, it's not a thing. It didn't come from the Bible. It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Irony. All right. The anti-vaxxers are going to bring up the child vaccine containing this buffered saline because they don't have any clue what it is or what it's used for, or tri-buffered or tris-buffered. Interesting. I'm going to have to look that up. It's nuts. All right. Okay. Rapture was invented in the 1860s. Can't remember the guy's name, though. Ah. Yes, that's where it came from. A woman at a school board meeting in Chandler County, Arizona, went on an unhinged rant against COVID-19 vaccines on Wednesday. And wow, it's something.
My name is Melanie Rettler. I'm a veterinarian. I was a former teacher in Phoenix Union High School District. I'm a cloning expert with 35 years experience, and I was a consultant to the CDC. I've owned a pharmacy. I want to tell you that this vaccine, this COVID vaccine, is a deadly poison. That's it. I'm just going to tell you that. Everybody that takes it is damaging their immune system, and they're talking about this being given to children now. It's going to destroy them. You need to do more research on it. I'm an expert on it, and I'm telling you, that's what it's doing.
Oh, hey, I'm an expert, y'all. Trust me when I say these insane things. You know what kind of expert she is? Okay, a cloning expert. She just told you she's a cloning expert. She's a veterinarian. Now, look, here's the thing. Veterinarians it's an important job for sure. I'm pretty sure she's been doing quite well prescribing ivermectin for horses. Because that's exactly, hey, horses got parasites. Dogs got sheep got parasites. Ivermectin. Hey, humans also get parasites as well, and so they get ivermectin for that. And yes, because it is effective on parasites, not on COVID-19. But okay, yeah, but no, trust me, I'm totally an expert on this. Okay, well, again, you don't know about vaccines or immunology or anything like that. I mean, I guess you know how to give vaccines to a dog, and sure, and that's important, but seriously, though, on all the other stuff, press X to doubt. But hey, look, even if true, even if you have that extensive resume, which I can't, say if she does or she does not, maybe she did actually own a pharmacy at one point, that doesn't mean the stuff that you're saying is right. And so it's sort of a weird, appeal to authority. No, trust me, dog, I know all this stuff. Right, okay. But let me give you an example, okay? Ben Carson is a brain surgeon, a very talented brain surgeon. That doesn't mean Ben Carson isn't stupid. He has said all sorts of dumb, really, really stupid shit. Being smart doesn't mean you can't be dumb. Just saying. But, and again, she says the vaccine, the vaccines are harming your immune system. No, that's literally the opposite of what they do. They literally teach it how to fight this virus more effectively. Complete opposite, right? And this is why people who are vaccinated, by the way, have better outcomes if they get the virus, if they have breakthrough infection. Assuming, of course, your immune system hasn't already been compromised by other things like cancers, etc., because we saw that with Colin Powell, who was double vaccinated but had a rare blood disorder that basically decimated his immune system. He caught COVID and he died. And so that is a situation that happens. But for people who do not have those, these immunocompromised systems, having the vaccine generally makes you, it makes you more able to fight COVID better. Okay. And so that's why the vaccine is, by the way, recommended for everybody, and especially if you immunocompromised people, but also you protect those immunocompromised people by having the vaccine. Because it is still some protection versus no protection. Okay. That said, this is not the worst part of the speech, because she is not done yet. Oh no, here it comes.
The next topic is the CRT. I agree with what both of these people said, but you know what? If you want to talk about racism, if you want to bring it in, then let's bring it in. Let's get to the bottom of it. We're talking about white supremacy. Okay, let's get to the very bottom of it. Every one of these things, the deep state, the cabal, the swamp, the elite, you can't mention it, but I will. There is one race that owns all the pharmaceutical companies, and these vaccines aren't safe, they aren't effective, and they aren't free. You know that you're paying for it through the increase in gas prices, the increase in food prices. You're paying for this. And it's being taken from your money and given to these pharmaceutical companies. And if you want to bring race into this, it's the Jews.
And there it is. Hey, she said, oh man, let's get to the bottom of it. Well, she got to the bottom of the barrel, because when you scrape the bottom of that barrel, you end up with anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Because of course. I mean, everything there, just nonsense. Wow. I mean, look, they're not free. I mean, yes, they are free to the American people. I mean, yes, our tax money did go to the development. That's how all vaccines and really all medications are developed. And by the way, and researched and developed, by the way, that actually makes a case for nationalizing the pharmaceutical companies instead of allowing them to be for-profit entities. That's a different conversation, okay? That said, critical race theory, we're going to bring that into it too. Maybe I'll get to that later, but yeah, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, blood libel, right? One of the oldest and most damaging conspiracy theories. I wonder where she got her research. Oh, right, yeah, shitty YouTube videos and Facebook memes. That's where she got it. Complete and utter insanity. And this is what's happening in these school board meetings. But this is not an isolated incident. You may have noticed more school board meetings going on that are been, taken over by insane people saying insane things. And understand that these are not your concerned parents, right? We're being lied to about that. No, this is a big money-backed movement to take over the school boards funded by right-wing organizations, industries, and think tanks, right? In fact, I've got a few names of them. See, unlike conspiracy theorists, I can actually go and name specific industries. I know, and specific groups that are pushing to do this, and as well as the people who are actually funding them. In fact, you have the Leadership Institute. The Leadership Institute has actually trained generations of right-wing activists and is promoting a 20-hour online course to train conservatives how to run for their local school boards in order to stop, quote-unquote, the teaching of critical race theory before it destroys the fabric of our nation. Then, of course, you have another group, Intercessors for America, and the Center for Renewing America, run by former Trump administration official Russ Vought, are also distributing their own toolkit that encourages conservatives to reclaim their schools by taking over local school boards. Other supposed grassroots groups are Parents Defending Education, No Left Turn in Education, and Moms for Liberty. You know, because liberty, obviously. The Leadership Institute's funders include the right-wing Ed Yulin Foundation and, Ed Yulin Family Foundation and the Bradley Foundation. So, no, understand that this is part of an effort to take over the school boards and then work to make kids dumb. That's the overall goal here. Because dumb kids make obedient workers and good Republican voters. That's it. Not only that, but if they actually talked the real history of the United States, people would actually work to change it and make it better, like do things, for example, reparations for slavery, land back, things like that. Those are things that conservatives despise, and because it might actually mean that they lose some money and some power. And they're very, very good at adopting that messaging to make it sound absolutely horrible, what it actually, and make it sound like it's something that is not, in order to get popular opinion against it. And understand this is what the culture war is. And as usual, the actual left is 2 steps behind on all of this stuff. And I think it's a combination of a couple of things. You've got apathy and, of course, a massive lack of resources on the progressive side. Plus, you add in the near infinite resources of the far right, including money and mass media and effective, fear-based messaging, like the lady talking about critical race theory in classrooms. It's not being taught, though. At least not the original college level course. What they're doing with critical race theory is labeling things that they don't like as critical race theory, when of course it's not. And so that's why they're able to constantly scream about it being taught in schools, but can never define it at the same time. And so, as usual, those of us on the left who actually care about facts and information and making a better society, a healthier society, are left reacting to the onslaught of bullshit and nonsense instead of acting to be able to make this a better country. I don't understand the CRT debate. It is not taught in schools below college. There is no debate. Well, like I said, I just told you that they're basically taking the label of critical race theory and applying it to things that generally were not considered critical race theory, things that they don't like. And so they're just calling it critical race theory, which is why when you ask them, what is critical race theory? What is it? And they can't tell you. They'll just say it's un-American or nonsense. So the board's reaction to that racist sucked too. Yeah. Basically, all they said is, well, why don't you actually bring us stuff that we can do something about? Yeah. Nonsense. Okay. Go to the next story. Representative Lauren Boebert went after climate activist Greta Thunberg for protesting outside the UN COP26 conference in Glasgow, Scotland. So this is where, of course, the world leaders they're going to go and they're going to get platitudes, they're going to do flowery language while promising to do something about climate change, which then they, of course, never do. Hey, look, I just ruined the entire COP26 conference, so everybody, you can go home, right? Now, outside the summit, Thunberg called out the world's leaders for being all talk and no action on addressing climate change. In fact, here's what she said.
No more exploitation of people and nature and the planet. No more exploitation. No more blah, blah, blah. No more whatever the fuck they're doing inside there.
Oops, sorry.
No more exploitation of people and nature and the planet. No more exploitation. No more blah, blah, blah. No more whatever the fuck they're doing inside there. No more blah, blah, blah. No more blah, blah, blah. No more blah, blah, blah. No more blah, blah, blah.
Okay, there it is. So Now, Lauren Boebert, of course, couldn't let that go. So here's what she responded with. Tell me you have absolutely no idea why you're protesting without telling me you have absolutely no idea what you're protesting. Oh, yeah, got her. Except, no, you didn't get her. She's literally out there. Her entire message is, I'm making fun of politicians for being all talk and no action. That's it. Like, yes, the politicians, all they're saying is blah, 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 nothing. And they're not doing anything. Now, Lauren, you would think that as a so-called anti-establishment Republican, conservative, that you would be more receptive to the message of, hey, the politicians are doing nothing but talk and not actually doing their jobs. I mean, Greta Thunberg is mocking liberals, mainly. Because those are the people that go out and say, oh, we're going to do all these things about climate change and then never do it. Now, of course, conservatives, they're just like, we don't believe in climate change, so obviously we're not going to do anything. So she's making fun of liberals. He's making fun of liberals. And Lauren Boebert is not sophisticated enough to actually jump on and say, yeah, you know what? You're right. You are absolutely right, Greta. They are all talk and no action. But, of course, here's the thing, right? She can't use it as an own against the Democrats because it turns out she takes money from the fossil fuel industry. Of course. In fact, Lauren Boebert is married to a man who is a consultant for the Colorado natural gas industry. Of course. In fact, Representative Boebert's financial disclosure filing stated that Jason Boebert earned close to $500,000 working for a Houston-based energy firm called Terra Energy Partners in 2020 and is on track to earn $768,000 in 2021. The Post reports that Boebert actually worked as a contractor overseeing drilling operations for the company, which operates various subsidiaries in Colorado, including TEP Rocky Mountain LLC and Terra Energy Holdings LLC. Those companies collectively own more than 5,500 natural gas wells located in Boebert's congressional district. Oh, of course. How convenient. How convenient. And in fact, according to a June 2021 EPA report, Terra Energy Partners ranks fourth in the industry of methane emissions, above the fossil fuel giant BP, which produces more than 5 times as much natural gas, despite producing less than a fifth of its output. Another EPA report shows that Terra's subsidiary, TEP Rocky Mountain, was the largest offshore oil and gas greenhouse gas emitter in Colorado and the 10th largest in the country in 2018. Not only that, but oh look, it turns out to be a majority of her income. Yeah, her family income. By the way, Lauren Boebert owns a restaurant, right? Shooter's Grill. But apparently she's not doing so well. Her trash pit of a restaurant is facing a lot of losses. In fact, according to Boebert's financial disclosures, Shooter's Grill has posted $600,000 in operating losses over the last 3 years, going back to well before the pandemic. Interesting. So that's her paycheck, oil and gas. So of course she's not going to be, in favor of doing anything to curb oil and gas. Her literal paycheck depends on it. And so she loves all talk and no action. And in fact, she's one of the ones who's a climate denier and says, climate change? What climate change? I don't see no climate change. Maybe I see like very natural climate change. I don't see climate change though. No. Let's not do anything about it. You know what? Here's the thing. I wish one conservative, at least one conservative, and I'm not talking about the politicians. The politicians are all awash in corporate money, especially from the fossil fuel industries. I'm talking about like the regular Joe, regular guy who's a conservative. I wish, Jim Bob, right, would take a look at this and think, gosh, there sure seems to be a lot of money going from fossil fuel companies into politicians. I wonder if that has an impact on their stance about climate change. I wonder if they're lying, maybe, in order to keep their paychecks. But no, again, here's the thing. These people are more than capable of following the money. In fact, they do it all the time. They just do it in the wrong ways. Like, for example, instead of pointing at the companies, these incredibly profitable corporations that are doing all these, emitting all these greenhouse gases, they'll instead look at the climate researchers at colleges that get grants. And they think, aha, found it. Oh, we found it. See, that's where your talking points are coming from. Research grants. Greedy scientists doing your science. No, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the billion-dollar companies that are, doing misinformation while, trying to protect their bottom line, doing pollution, literally owning police forces to go and crack down on indigenous pipeline protesters. No, they're not the problem. It's those goddamn research scientists at the goddamn college. That's a real problem. I mean, not only that, but of course, they also make things up like, oh, it's the real people that are at fault. It's the Bilderbergs. It's the Rothschilds. It's the Jews. Come on, guys. Holy shit. I mean, they just come up with just nonsense. Just garbage. And look, maybe it's not entirely their fault because they're getting fed mass media talking points, but still, Jesus Christ. The companies and the politicians, they are selling us all down the river, all in order to get paid. Again, it's just about paychecks, and there's that Upton Sinclair quote where it's really hard to get somebody to, I'm going to butcher that quote. I fucking know it. It's harder to get somebody to, realize something when their paycheck depends on not realizing it. Again, I did murder that quote, but you generally get it. Yeah, of course Lauren Boebert knows the truth, but oh no, my paycheck depends on this. And same with the politicians. And so, of course they're going to, try to rationalize it or something like, oh no, it turns out there is science from ExxonMobil, and it's muddy in the waters and all that stuff, right? And so I can just keep collecting my money because that's the only thing that matters is really getting the money so that I can get my 5th or 6th yacht. So I can have a little yacht nesting doll with a yacht inside a yacht inside a yacht. Yeah. And so that's it. I mean, that's what's going on here. All they care about is short-term profits. They don't care about the future of the planet. But anyway, let's go with some quick dunks on Boebert. Katie Porter's whiteboard says, thank you for helping broadcast your message. While it's clearly lost on you, maybe it will resonate with people who would like to save the planet. Steve Benedict says, the fact that you don't understand what she's doing does not mean that she doesn't understand what she's doing. David Fishbaugh says, same thing I think every time I see you have posted. Doesn't know what she's talking about. Now, again, a couple of fun dunks. There's plenty more, but I just wanted to say that Lauren Boebert, she may be a dumb person. Okay, scratch that. She is a dumb person. But even she's not stupid enough to not realize what Greta means by blah, blah, blah. Because that's all we hear from politicians about climate change. And not only that, but of course we hear the same thing about drug prices, healthcare, higher wages, et cetera, et cetera. We're tired of talk. We need more action. And that's the whole point behind her message. All right. Republicans, your modern day business suit neo-Nazis, says Danko Bengal for super chat. Thank you, Danko. Appreciate that. A couple of things here. Shout outs. Emo Dragon resub for 1 month at tier 1. Thank you for that. Ms. Frazzled resubbed for a month at tier 1. Thank you. And Auntie Sarah, thank you for giving out 1 tier 1 community sub. Appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. Helps us out. Bob Law Blah. Bob's Law Bombs. That's what I think of. I think there was like a Twitter account that had that message in it, but it's okay. All right, anyway. Let's go to something fun. Billionaire tears. During the negotiations over the reconciliation bill, Democrats like Ron Wyden have been proposing a billionaire's tax. So now, of course, that entire bill has been murdered. It's a disaster. It's a dumpster fire. The majority of the good things that were in it has been stripped out by people like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, Mark Warner, corporate Democrats, and of course, the leadership, progressive leadership, has completely folded. They say they're going to vote for it. Absolute disaster. Now, before that happened, a billionaire, one billionaire in particular, was so hurt by this proposal that he had to speak out, which means it's time for rich men cry. So this person was Leon Cooperman, who told Business Insider in an interview about the wealth tax, which this is not. I think it's all baloney. I don't think it's constitutional. It's not going to happen. Well, yeah, he's right. It isn't going to happen because, of course, we have bought Congress and corporate Democrats. But nonetheless, the billionaire's income tax floated by Wyden would have taxed the value that billionaires' assets, like stocks, accrued during the year. Normally, those stocks only are taxed if they're sold. So people with massive holdings like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they have massive amounts of holdings. They don't sell those stocks, and so they could just continue to earn an income from those, and they're not taxed. And so now White House economists found that when accounting for gains on assets and as income, the 400 wealthiest families in America paid only about 8.2% of their incomes in individual income taxes from the years of 2010 to 2018. So that is a really, really low amount of taxation. So now the billionaire tax proposal would have treated those as income and taxed them at the same rate as they would have been if they were sold. So that was one of the pay-fors that was supposed to be in the Build Back Better plan to pay for other things. It's gone, of course, because certain Democrats do not want anyone to touch their beloved billionaires. Cooperman further told Insider, quote, "I believe in a progressive income tax structure and that rich people should pay and do pay more in taxes." No, that's not right at all. I mean, if you look at the percentage of income, rich people actually pay less. As I said, the 400 richest Americans only paid 8.2% of their income in taxes. Americans on average, and this includes all income brackets, paid 13.3% of their income on taxes. So Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin literally stripped out a bill that would have given all Americans paid leave in order to save 400 families from taxation. Wow. Congratulations. Really serving the people, aren't you? Look, hundreds of millions of people would have benefited from things like paid leave, some of the stuff in that bill, which I even argue didn't go far enough. $3.5 trillion. Could have been double that, and originally was. But they kept stripping it away, peeling it back in order to appease corporate Democrats. And it's never enough. I mean, Joe Manchin is like, he's not even saying he's going to vote for it, which, by the way, I hope he crashes the bill. I hope progressives don't vote for it. I know they're probably going to, which is just a goddamn shame because the entire thing is an unrecognizable husk with, yes, a couple of good things in it, but not when you have the leverage of holding up the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And progressives are so bad at playing politics. And I actually do think it's because they think everybody's good faith. They come into negotiations with good faith. They think everybody's in good faith. and constantly are proven otherwise. It's insane. Worst negotiators ever. Worst. But anyway, back to Cooperman, right? So now he said, we don't need new forms of taxation. Get rid of the loopholes. It's unbelievable. So now, understand this is a scam, okay? You've heard it. Lower the rates and close the loopholes. How often have you heard that when there's any discussion of tax policy? So now, of course, they do lower the rates, but they never close the loopholes. The only loopholes that they do manage to close are ones that help the middle class. Okay? Nonetheless, Cooperman adds, they're attacking billionaires for no reason. For no reason. First of all, it's not an attack asking them to pay their taxes. And secondly, it's because they've got all the money. That's where the money is. There's been a gigantic upward transfer of wealth over the past, oh God, since the 1980s, at least. Gigantic upward transfer of wealth from everyone to the rich. And so you're a billionaire. How much more do you need? I mean, that's always a question for assholes like this. How much greed is enough? How much greed is enough? It's endless. I know. And yeah, and I also know that I'm being so super mean to the billionaires right now. Oh, it must be class envy. No, it's actually not. Look, for one, I don't give a shit about your feelings. Billionaires, I think, are a mistake. They're a policy failure. They shouldn't exist. Every dollar over $1 billion should be taxed at 100%. They should take all of it and then redistribute it to other people. You can help people because every billionaire is a policy failure because you do not get to $1 billion unless you stomp some people down on the way. Whether it be paying people like shit, exploiting labor, especially overseas labor, destroying the environment, hiding money in tax havens, of course, lobbying lobbying Congress with your billions of dollars. And so there is no ethical way to earn $1 billion, to earn such a vast fortune. So Cooperman's actually right when he says there is no sympathy for billionaires because you haven't earned any sympathy. Sorry. You also haven't earned a symphony, by the way. You have earned the smallest violin in existence, though. No, you want sympathy? Boo fucking who, dude? That'll be $2,500 an hour. You want sympathy? Pay me. Pay me, bitch. That's what. And honestly, I'm not serious about that because I wouldn't take their money to begin with. But they do pay people to cape for them. Right-wing media, Fox News, corporate media, Democrats, CNN, cable news. They pay all those people to cape for them. And look, honestly, a lot of them are already millionaires. And so they're looking out for their own interests. And that's what's going on. So, yeah, you know what? You want sympathy? Pay for it. If not, fuck all the way off. We need a wealth tax, and we need it now. By the way, this entire thing, the Wyden proposal was not a wealth tax. In fact, according to a law professor, David Gamage at Indiana University, talking to Insider, said this should be constitutionally safe. It's clearly an income tax, not a wealth tax. The 16th Amendment grants Congress the power to collect taxes on income. I think this is quite safe. Not 100% perfectly beyond challenge, but quite safe constitutionally. Good to know. Not that it, of course, matters now because we're not getting it. It's not going in this reconciliation bill. It's not going to be in any bill. Because unless we get money out of politics, we're going to lose forever. Citizens United, McCutcheon versus FEC, Bellotti versus First Bank, Buckley Vallejo have all collectively destroyed our democracy by first making money speech, giving corporations the power of speech, and then chipping away at the very few restrictions, the remaining safeguards to stop the massive flow of legal dark money into our elections. We will never be able to vote the system out with our corrupt congresspeople. We've got to find a way around them. Maybe we can amend the Constitution. We've got to do something or else it's all over. And the wealthy corporate right wing will continue to steamroll us into eternity. Okay. Go to QAnon. Money out of politics, all dark money. Agreed. Just all money, all of it, publicly financed. To win the class war, we must be attacked first. We've already been attacked. Economically. It's an economic war. And they're winning. They've been winning for a very, very long time. Lucky Hernandez, thank you. Very kind, $5, by the way. Get that. All right. Something odd has happened in Dallas, Texas. Or maybe not, because it is Texas. But a large group of QAnon followers, early on Tuesday, were waiting for the return of John F. Kennedy Jr. Now, if that sounds a little bit strange, it's because JFK Jr. has been dead for about 22 years. Meaning that, of course, not necessarily fit for travel or appearances. Okay. Nonetheless, QAnon followers gathered in Dealey Plaza for him to show up for an announcement earlier today, which, of course, did not happen, obviously. What a surprise. But not really, because he's dead. So not a surprise at all. Now, Stephen Monticelli, who's a reporter, has been chronicling this little get-together, and he's got, I got a couple of pictures for you. Just, what's going on here. So let's go to that. All right. There's currently a large crowd of what appears to be QAnon believers at the AT&T Discovery Plaza in downtown Dallas. A popular QAnon theory recently is that JFK Jr. of the Kennedy family will be making a big announcement at Dealey Plaza by the grassy knoll sometime tomorrow. Oh, there's so much irony here. By the way, thanks a lot, AT&T. QAnon, so AT&T, by the way, is a gigantic funder of right-wing causes. For example, Newsmax. And so Newsmax, of course, helps spread conspiracy theories and QAnon stuff. And so there it is. Ironic. Very ironic. But okay, so now, I have another picture as well from the gathering here. Take a look. Look at that. Trump JFK Jr. 2024. Jesus Christ, they have merch. They have merch. Wow. Okay. So now look, like a lot of the conspiracies that come out, it's actually been around for a few months before people pick up on it. At least people in left-wing media. So now, this has been, again, around from at least 2018. And so QAnon conspiracy theorists and this has been reported before by the Daily Beast, that they think that Q is actually JFK Jr., who is still alive. Now, Q was not JFK Jr. The guy who was actually outed as being Q, it was is like a Filipino goat farmer, or at least a goat farmer living in the Philippines. Weirdo stuff. But it doesn't matter. No. It's JFK Jr. Oh, okay. Now, around the middle of July, a figure named R also appeared in the 8chan forum devoted to QAnon research. The anonymous poster, who was soon dubbed R-Anon, posted that Kennedy hadn't actually died in a plane crash off the coast of Massachusetts back in 1999. Instead, they said that he had faked his death to avoid the supposed deep state cabal that is at the center of QAnon and teamed up with Donald Trump for a decades-long strategy. Dude, Donald Trump cannot even hold his attention on something for 5 minutes. You think he's got the longevity, the stamina, by the way, and the attention span to do a decades-long conspiracy? Bonkers. Bonkers. Insane. But it says that they believe that while Trump was working on his presidential bid, Kennedy had become Q and was doing the Q drops, or the, I should say, more of like the
dumps. Big, massive dumps.
He was doing the dumps online. Big old dumps. And now some of them believe, and they had gathered, of course, in Dealey Plaza, that AFK Jr. was going to show up and announce that he is running with Donald Trump in 2024. What happened to Mike Pence? What happened?
Mike Pounds.
He's gone. Nobody on that side likes Mike Pence anyway. So he's pretty much out after he decided not to buy into the weirdo thing that he was supposed to do, that he actually couldn't do because he didn't have the authority to do it, which is not certify the election and install Trump. I always love to ask, like, okay, if you think the vice president has the power to not certify an election and just keep a president, or put a president into place alone with their own power, you think Kamala Harris can do this? And why hasn't this been used before? Then it can never come up with an answer. Can never come up with an answer. And it's absolute lunacy. People have lost their minds. And unfortunately, that's the right wing right now. They're completely engrossed in insane conspiracy theories. I mean, 82% of Fox News viewers, according to new polling, think that Trump had the election stolen. 97% among One American News and Newsmax viewers. 1 in 6 believe that the government is controlled by a group of Satan-worshipping pedophiles who run a global sex trafficking ring. And by the way, part of that is drinking the blood of children, which of course is an old anti-Semitic conspiracy theory known as blood libel. So that same share, 18%, say that they agreed with the statement that America has gotten so far off track that true American patriots may have to resort to violence in order to save our country. These are people who have lost their minds and now may resort to violence. 30% of Republicans agree that political violence might be warranted. Jesus Christ. This is incredibly disturbing. Just absolute terrifying what the right has turned into, thanks in part to conservative media, the internet, and also a really, really weak Democratic Party. Honestly, in any place where you had a strong left-wing party, a strong left-wing presence, you would not have the right able to steamroll. It is always in, and if you go and look at the history, the far right has always taken advantage of an incredibly weak centrist or center-left party that, it fails on every turn. That has turned to corporatism and neoliberalism. Okay? That's the right wing is able to take over because you have such weak Democrats. And that, again, we have some of the weakest Democrats that we have. I wish they were stronger, but they're not. They're super, super weak and super corporate and incredibly bought off. And so, unfortunately, we don't have that party to fight against the far right, who are insane. Sucks. And one more thing. You remember when, at least I remember when I was growing up, I would always hear, like, not from my parents, because they weren't idiots. They're actually very smart people. But I would hear from other people That like, oh, TV rots your brain. Really? Is that what happens, right? Well, maybe they're onto something, because if you watch Fox News, your brain is melted. Mush. Just complete, like, goo. And that's it. If you watch all of these right-wing, so-called news outlets, your brain literally is rotted at this point. So. Sad. Not good. Not good at all. Well, was that not uplifting today? Yeah. All right. Let's see. Super chat here. Danko Banko says, right-wing propaganda, your brain. Agreed. I wish I had that clip of I'm melting. Your poor brain. Sad. Not good. And in fact, very bad. All right. Well, that's it. That's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for going around the nation with me. Thank you for the super chats. Very, very kind. And the conversation as well. Thank you for the Twitch subs. Appreciate that. And the new follows. Thank you all. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. See you all tomorrow. Have a good night.
I like my meat tight. Wet ass B-word.
Amazing.
Mike Patterns.
Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
Please clap. You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.